Hello, beautiful survivors. Give me 1 second because you guys know me. I need my other phone so I can see everyone's comments because I'm blind. I'm blind. All right. Hi, guys. I see you all coming in. So good to see you all. Guys, I hope there's not too much static in the background because normally I do my lives with the AC and the fan off, but it's a little too hot, so I need it on. I need it on. Let's see. Ooh, what did I do? Oh, okay. All right, guys. Let's see. So we have we have, Cicely, how are you, sweetheart? Ty, Amanda, Tracker. Let's see. Who else? Hi, Davy. How are you? This is how I love it. This is how I love it. I love starting off like this, guys, where everybody just starts to come in. Okay. So, guys. We're going to give it about a minute or so. Let some more people come in, and then we'll get started. Oh, my goodness. I have my water ready. Hi, Stella. Oh, let me get a little bit more comfortable. Alrighty. I got everything in place. I have my drink. I have my phone over here. Thank you, Ty. Thank you. And I got this candle. I have been feeling really down with my energy lately, and I needed something to kind of, just help bring me back up. This candle is an awesome candle. I'm a pumpkin fan, so in case anybody, the holidays, you want to get a girl something, I love pumpkin, anything pumpkin. This is the vanilla pumpkin marshmallow candle from Bath and Body Works. Freaking amazing. Love the smell of it. And it's just so relaxing and so soothing. And it's just, I definitely needed it because my energy's just been like up and down, all over the place. Hi, Jenna. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, Kiana. It's been all over the place, guys. But I'm so glad to see that everybody's coming in. Everybody is here. I'm glad to see you all here today. If you're new to the channel, welcome to Intuitive Vibes Narc Survival 101. Please, if you're new, shout yourself out. You have a bunch of awesome people here. A lot of them come in at different times, but they're all awesome. Okay, and this is the community, the survivor community. And stick around. You may hear something that you may need to know pertaining to your situation. And of course, if today's live session didn't give you everything that you needed, you can always email me. Or you can check out other live sessions. I do plenty of them every week. And we just, we get down to the nitty-gritty of things and we talk about things. So guys, my first question, how did you guys like the video that I posted up just earlier today? It was the borderline personality disorder. I know you guys were waiting for it for a while. And you know what's crazy? It took me about almost 2 hours to record that video, all for an 18-minute video. But it took me 2 hours because I was so beyond drained and exhausted. But I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to get it done, and I wanted to do it for you guys. So let me know what your thoughts on it, your opinions on it. Let me know if you maybe know someone or knew someone who possibly also had this personality disorder, maybe both. We're gonna talk about that as well. Yes, Davey, absolutely. Borderline personality disorder. I want to start talking more about different, aside from narcissism, because I know a lot of us are very familiar with the behaviors of narcissism. But I definitely want to get you guys more familiar with other types of personality disorders as well, because you never know, right? Like, you never know. You might need to know these things because the next person you deal with, you might not be dealing with a narcissist. You may be dealing with a sociopath, God forbid, let's knock on wood. But, it's always good to know these things. You don't have to be psychiatrists. You don't have to be psychologists to really educate yourselves and really, learn the red flags, learn everything about it. So that way You have healthy relationships, right? And that way you have more sustainability and you know how to handle situations. You know how to handle things. Davey, from what I understand, borderline is the failed narcissist. They failed to deploy narcissistic defenses, so they feel emotions a lot. A lot. I mean, it's because you know what it is, Davey. It's all a spectrum. It really is all a spectrum. And you know, when it boils down to personality disorders, one of the things we have to really understand, and we don't, you know, I don't make excuses for anyone, guys. I don't make excuses for their behaviors or what it is they do, because when you reach a certain point in life, you gotta stop and say to yourself, is it really everybody else or is it just me? You know, but when you have someone who's had their mind so distorted by ingrained behaviors, ingrained actions, and you know, everything that stemmed from their childhood, you know, up to their adulthood, one of the things we got to understand is that it's like I mentioned in the video, it's kind of like one of those hard habits to break. It really is for them. And for these people who suffer these types of disorders, I mean, listen, again, I don't make excuses for them, and I don't encourage people to stay with people like this. I really don't. I understand these people have issues, they have problems, they're broken. But at the end of the day, you know, you are not a therapist. You are not a psychiatrist. You're not a psychologist. You did not get into a relationship with someone to heal the wounds of, you know, from people who were supposed to be protecting them to begin with. But at the end of the day, a lot of you guys took that job on. A lot of you guys took that on. You took on that responsibility. And because that's what that is. It's a responsibility. You took that on because you saw something in them. You saw something in them. I mean, we're not going to deny that, right? You saw whatever it was that you saw in them. You saw, you know, a good person. You saw someone that you can possibly, I mean, listen, you had the heroes, what is that called? The hero complex. You wanted to show them something different. You wanted to show them and provide to them something that you were under the impression that they never had. Now, the reality of it is that that is true. It was something they never received, but it was something they never received from the people they were supposed to receive it from. You understand? How many other people before you enter their lives attempted to try to fix these people, attempted to try to show them love? You know, we can't go off of what they tell you. You got to go off of what you know. And in this case, when you're dealing with someone who's a narcissist, who's borderline, who has, you know, whatever type of personality disorder, when you're dealing with someone like this, you're trying to heal the wounds that were inflicted upon them by the people who were supposed to be protecting them, which generally is their parents. Okay? It's their parents. And we're not just talking about that, you know, negative projection, like the parents projected negatively on them or overly inflated their egos, and you know, they became not. We're talking about, you have narcissist parents who abandon their children. When they abandon their children, or they treat their children like an option. Remember when you were going through your discard? Remember when everything was happening and you felt like you were an option, right? You felt like you were an option. And on the flip side of that, the narcissist was looking at you like, well, what can you do for me? What more can you do for me? I've already bled you dry. I already took everything out of you. There's nothing more you can do for me. That's what their parents did to them. Okay? That's something that their parents did to them. Whether they want to admit that or not, that's something that their parents did to them. You know, narcissist parents are not the easiest parents to deal with. Clearly, they're not the easiest, especially since you know, dealt with a narcissist, whether you dated them or you have family members that are narcs. They're not the easiest to deal with. But when you have narcissist parents who choose to abandon their children, choose to say, well, you know, I don't want to be a parent, or I don't want to be your parent, or, you know, me having a child is going to ruin my life. You know, they're looking at it from that aspect. The child clearly is going to feel rejected. They're going to feel rejected. So what do? They self-preserve. You know, it can go a number of ways. For someone to turn into a narcissist, it can go a number of ways. That's where that fear of abandonment comes from. So if you dealt with someone who has narcissist parents, but they were in and out, inconsistent, consistently rejecting them, and then taking them back in, and then rejecting them and taking them back in, or they were consistently scapegoating them, or they were consistently, like I said, overinflating their ego to the furthest extent and then tearing them down. These are clearly people who have issues. They do have issues. But like I said, you guys are not therapists. You're not psychiatrists. You're not psychologists. You are, you're normal people who just wanted to have a normal relationship, and you thought that's what you were going to have. Unfortunately, that was not the case with these people. That was not the case. Don't beat yourself up about it, because like I said, there were probably other people who were trying to fix that person. There were probably other people before you who were trying to fix them. And every story they told you, everything they said to you about the exes, about the other people who they were dating, the other people, whatever the case may be, chances are the majority of it was a lie. The majority of it was a lie. And they have, there's this thing where now the DSM is saying that narcissism is a mental illness. And, someone did bring it to my attention, which, I'm appreciative for everyone to have their own opinions, their own ideas, their own thoughts. And I personally, and this is my personal opinion, and I'm not stating that it's a fact, because, clearly the DSM put it in there that it's a mental illness. I call it bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on it. I'm sorry. I really don't see that as being a mental illness. You are well aware if you're lying to someone. You're well aware and you're conscious. You're very conscious. People who suffer mental illnesses are people who have chemical imbalances in their brains. It's like a really bad chemical imbalance in the brain. For example, someone who is bipolar. Someone who's bipolar. Bipolar disorder is a chemical imbalance within the brain. And these are things that are uncontrollable. Like, you can go and you can get help as far as therapy is concerned, and get medication to help with, to help evenly balance out the chemicals in the brain. But how do you really treat a personality disorder? How do you really do that? Can you take a magic pill? Because if that was the case, we'd be shoving pills down a lot of people's throats. Okay. So, I'm still looking into it with regards to that, but I truthfully can't say that I agree it is a mental illness. I cannot say that, because, this is clearly something that stems from their upbringing, from environment, from their childhood. It's if you want to call it something, call it your parents fucked up your head type of illness, but not it's a mental illness, because that kind of justifies and that kind of excuses them for their behaviors, and it excuses them, for the abuse, while simultaneously invalidating the victims. Because if that's the case, why are there more victims than there are perpetrators? Come on. Like, no, I really don't. I really don't. Okay, let me just go back here for a second, guys. I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. I want to make sure, you guys know me, I like to make sure I know everyone's here. Hi, Onita. Hi, sweetheart. Andrea. Thank you. Yeah, this is one of my favorite shirts. My house shirt. I wear it. I've worn it, I think, a few times on the lives. Thank you, Cicely. Thank you. I'm glad you did. Hi, Heather. Hi, sweetheart. Hey, Gil. Let's see. Hi, Adam. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, guys, Ty, EJ, it's and the thing is that you guys are men. You're men, and it's a lot more, listen, any type of narcissistic abuse is horrible. Any type is horrible. But if you are a man dealing with a female narcissist, or even a woman dealing with a female narcissist, whatever your preference is, female narcissists are are considerably worse. They're considerably worse than male narcissists. And I was again, when I first started doing my studies in narcissism and learning about the statistics that say that, well, narcissism is more common in men than it is in women. The level of abuse, listen, let's give the benefit of the doubt. Let's just give the benefit of the doubt for a second. The level of abuse that a female narcissist or a female sociopath would impose on, a man or even another woman is a lot greater. It's a lot greater because the level of abuse that a female narcissist has is more mental. It's more psychological. Okay. Women have, and you ladies know I love you guys. I love you all because, if it does not offend you, then it does not apply to you. But women have the ability to severely manipulate people, severely manipulate the general public. They have the ability to do these things all while flowing with that societal idea that women are weak. So it's kind of like that. They say not the boy who cried wolf, but it's kind of like that damsel in distress where they appear humble, they appear weak, they appear sweet, they appear kind. When you see them, they have like a lot of friends, or they have so many people who support them and so many people who are in their, like in their peer groups or whatever the case may be. But little do you know that females who are narcissists, females who are sociopaths, a lot of these people who are in their circle, who are in their environment, are people who've been manipulated, extremely manipulated. Women can get away with so much. They really can. They can get away with so much. And this is why I encourage a lot of men to come forward. I encourage men to come forward, even though I'm a woman. And I have been a victim of narcissistic abuse throughout, I would say, probably about maybe 75 to 80% of my life. But I encourage men to come forward because these statistics that are being put out there are based on studies. And these studies are based on people who are coming forward as victims of abuse. I've gone over this with you guys before. Not that many men will come forward in saying that women have abused them. Okay, people tend to think, well, you're a man and you let a woman abuse you, so you're going to tell me that a woman can't abuse a man just because they haven't physically. And in some cases, I don't know how many of you have dealt with female narcissists, guys, but some of them can get very physically violent too. They can slap you around. They can do all kinds of stuff. And the thing is that they take advantage of that. They take advantage of that too. So they put their hands on you and you decide that enough is enough and you go and you strike back. Boom. Who's going to jail here? Not her. People tend to think that abuse is more of a male. It's more of a male forte. It's like it's just all within the male spectrum. That is so not the case. That is so farthest from the truth. That is not the case. Female narcissists are in fact worse than male narcissists. Female sociopaths are in fact worse than male sociopaths. Female psychopaths are in fact worse than male psychopaths. Okay? They are way worse than male narcissists. So when I do my research and I see the studies and the statistics, again, all of this, psychology, psychiatry, therapy, everything is based on studies. It's based on studies. So clearly, if you have 2,500 women and only 5 men who come forward and say, I am a victim of narcissistic abuse. I am a victim of abuse. I'm a victim of abuse because the person of the opposite sex or even the same sex has abused me. Naturally, those studies are going to reflect those people who have managed to come forward as victims of abuse and actually try to get help to, recuperate from that abuse. Clearly, those statistics are going to be based off of those studies, which is based off of those victims who've managed to come forward. You understand what I'm saying? And this is primarily the reason why I do a lot when it boils down to female narcissists and female sociopaths. Because, well, one, listen, I have a son. I have a son. So I have to take into account the kind of females he's going to be involved with and the kind of females he's going to attract. And yeah, I do have a personal interest in it. But I can truly and clearly see that women are a lot worse on the spectrum. They're more devious. They're more manipulative. They're more conniving. They're very smart. I'm not saying you men aren't smart. Okay. I'm not saying that because you know you are. But they, on that scale, for someone who's a pathological liar, for someone who's just completely pathological, completely mental, yeah, they're a lot dangerous. They're a lot dangerous, and they maintain that to a fault because they can get away with a lot of stuff. Women can get away with a lot of stuff, guys. Okay, don't fall asleep on that. Please don't. All right. And I already know that there are plenty of women who don't like me because I am speaking on it. I've had people backlash. I've had people try to come for me, try to come for my jugular, like, yeah, who do you think you are? And just talk all kinds of nonsense. And at the end of the day, I don't care. But it's, to me, I have to, it's my obligatory duty to explain that. I'm not just going to speak on behalf of one and not the other. This is the way it is. So, I'm not really big when it boils down to like statistics and, statistics show that male narcissists, are 10% higher than female narcissists. How do you know that? How do you know that when a lot of female narcissists are covert? Hello. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you know that men are more prone to being narcissists? I mean, now if you're breaking this down on a biological sense and you're breaking this down as well, biologically speaking, male narcissists are, they have a higher probability than female narcissists, then give me the tangible proof that that is the case. Statistics are based on studies, and studies are based on, on people being vulnerable and actually coming forward and actually speaking on their abuse. So I don't go too much with it. All right, let's see. Davey, thanks. Thank you. I can't believe I got addicted to that person. The beginning was so different. Man was hanging on to that person to come back. Never does. Don't ever let them use that as a carrot on a stick. Yeah, you know what it is, Davey. It's when you disconnect from them. It's when you detach from them. Okay. Now, mind you guys, going no contact with them. Some victims do this, and I advise that you don't. Some victims do this. Some victims detach, or some victims act detached from the person in effort to try to re-attract them back in, to try to bring them back in. Listen to me carefully. When everything happened the way it did, and that person is busy doing whatever devilish bullshit they're doing, that's your clear-cut sign that you need to get the hell out of that. You need to get out of it. Okay? You need to get away from it. You need to get out of it. When a narcissist decides to come back into your life, when they decide to grow up, okay, and I do this because that's usually not the case, it's usually because they've gone through their options. They have gone through their options. And because those options were not feasible for them, those options were not, we're not really fulfilling them. Which, how do you fulfill someone who's extremely externally superficial? But those options were pretty much not giving them the supply that you gave to them. If you decide to go no contact with a narcissist, if you decide to detach and break free from a narcissist, you need to stay that way. You need to stay that way. These types of people, if you continuously allow them in your life, or if you continuously allow them re-entry, they're going to continuously hurt you. They will continuously hurt you. They will continuously use you. They will continuously lie to you. And that is because you allowed them to not only do what they did to you the very first time, but the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time. And you continuously allow that to happen. They do it because they can. And because you are addicted to them, which if you ever notice, like after a discard, they're, doing their own thing, and you're going through your different phases, you're going through your different stages of grief. And if you start to rebuild your life, if you start to get out of that environment and say, you know what, I don't need this, because let's just say, you go through your discard. Throughout those stages, you're giving them attention, right? You're trying to gain clarity. You're trying to get an apology. You're trying to argue with them and try to get them to understand that what they're doing is hurting you, that it's painful, that it's wrong. How could you? Why would you? I don't believe this. It's all of that. This is feeding them their supply still. You are still feeding their ego. You're feeding them their ego. So not only are they getting that attention from their new supply, but they're getting that attention from you too. So if you were just to decide to say, well, you know what, I'm not going to respond to your antics anymore, I'm not going to do any of these things anymore, and you decide to get up, pack your shit, and keep it moving, and you detach from them. And by detaching, guys, I don't mean you just get up and leave, but when they call you, you answer your phone. Or when they text you, you text them back. No, by detaching from them, I mean you get up, you leave, you change your number, you make all of your social media private, or if you really want to try to do your healing first, you stay away from social media. You stay away from social media for an ample period of time and start working on your healing, start working on yourself. You manage to do all of these things. While you're in the interim of doing these things, they're going to catch on clearly that you're not giving them the attention. They're going to catch on because they're going to feel you also energetically detaching from them. All right. I always say out of sight, out of mind. When it boils down to closure, they gave that to you. When it boils down to having an apology, you will not get one. And if you do get one, it will not be genuine. So at the end of the day, what do you need with their apology? You understand? You don't need any of it. You don't need any of it. Gather all of your things and just get on with it. Just get on with it. You don't have to say anything to them. You don't have to pack up and say, well, you know what? Since you want to be like this, I'm leaving. Don't even tell them anything. Just go. Just go. When I ended things, when I walked away completely. Completely. Okay? And I decided that I wanted to create my own closure, which I did. I created my own closure. I sent them a letter. That was it. The minute I sent the letter, I changed my phone number because I already knew that if I had not done that, if I had not changed my number, if I had not changed my mindset and really detached completely from the situation, that person would have found a way to contact me, and possibly I would not be here right now. I would not be here right now. I'll be honest with you. But I did what I had to do. I said what I had to say, and I walked away gracefully. And I'm glad I did it, because not only did I manage to pick up the pieces in my life, but I managed to really understand what I had gone through, why I went through it, and who was really there for me when I needed them most. And trust and believe, it is not the person who is a narcissist, who is extremely narcissistic, who is extremely egotistical, who is extremely broken, and who treated you like an option. It is not that person. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. Ali, you have no business being in here, therefore you don't need to be in here. Amanda, can you kick him out, please? I will not be dealing with nobody's negative energy. Trust me. I have a lot of people who are trying to come at me, and that's cool. That's cool. But we're not taking it there. Not today. Not today. Not today. He asked if I could predict his future. Yeah. Home and alone and holding himself. Don't got time for that. I'm glad, Cicely. I'm glad. And like you already know, I'm here if you need me. I'm here if you have questions. I'm here if you need anything. You know, it doesn't. One of the things I say, listen, there, even if you have the same questions rolling over and over in your head, which is common, it's very, very common. It's extremely common. Don't hesitate to you know, I told you guys my mouth is reckless, okay? And this is me being PG-13. All right, guys? This is me being PG-13. I'm cool with it. I'm in my Zen mode. I got my water. I'm not playing. I am not playing today. You guys already know. I am not playing today. Jenna, I don't always never like to admit it, but I know narcs are victims too. Yeah, you know what, Jenna? And that's, listen, they are victims, okay? They are victims of the circumstances that have been created in their lives, okay? They are victims. And I've said this before plenty of times too. But I was a victim of being codependent, okay? I was a victim of codependency. And at the end of the day, I didn't ask for codependency. I didn't ask to have that, you know, but I did something about it. I acknowledged something was wrong. I acknowledged I had problems, and I did something about it. I said, you know something? I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to feel like I'm afraid that someone's going to leave me, so I take their crap just so they can be in my life. I'm afraid, you know, if I speak my mind, if I say something, they're going to get mad and they're going to walk right out of my life. And I stood outside of myself for a second and I said, yo, what is wrong with me? That was the first thing. Accountability. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with Erica? What am I doing wrong? What? And what did I do? I went and I got therapy. I went to see a therapist. And I was already learning about behavioral problems. I was learning about attachment problems. I was learning about all of that. And when I went to the therapist, I needed her to confirm what I already knew based on what I was already learning. And when she confirmed that with me, that's when I said, oh no, we're not doing this. We're changing. And I kid you not, Jenna, I went and I got the help that I needed. I went to God and I said, listen, while I'm doing this, while I'm trying to heal my trauma, I'm trying to heal my inner child, I'm trying to heal every single issue that I have with myself. Please protect me in the process. Please stand by me in the process and let no one interfere with my healing. And look at where I'm at today. Right? If I can do it, and I'm an empathetic, or I wasn't, you know, I'm still empathetic, but I was a codependent, they can do it being a narcissist. There is no excuse. No excuse. Okay? For someone to say every relationship I had went down the toilet because it was their fault. You mean to tell me you had no wrongdoing at all? You had no wrongdoing at all. Every single person that you have dated were a-holes and liars and manipulators and cheaters? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Come on now. Hi, Butch. Hi, sweetheart. I don't think so. David, can you go a decade of not stealing from them and they have some paranoid feeling of it? They still think you will. Your history of not stealing doesn't matter to them. They're naturally, David, they're naturally, no, I can't even say natural because it's really not natural, but they are paranoid people because when someone wants to keep control in a situation, it's because of inner fears, okay? It's because of fears. Fear of losing control. The reason these types of people, manipulators, narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, they want to keep control because it's safer for them. Okay? It's safer for them. The paranoia is where it creeps in, where they feel they are losing control of a situation or of the situation. Okay? Whatever the situation is or was. When they start to feel like the control, they're losing their grip on the control, or if they think that, you know, maybe they're being triggered. If they're being triggered and, you know, you could be completely innocent in any kind of situation, completely innocent, they will always be under an assumption or be within that paranoia, because they're always on guard. They're always on the defense. They're always on the defense. They're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And by the other shoe to drop, I mean they're always waiting for you to discard them first, because they know their behaviors. And once they get little signs here and there that you may be on the brink or the verge of discarding them, or, just ending things with them or abandoning them, they will do what's necessary to reject you first before you do it to them. That paranoia, okay, which stems from their fears, that paranoia continuously feeds them those thoughts, those thought up ideas, or I don't even know what the best word is to describe it. It's just that the paranoia is like gnawing at their brain, it's just gnawing at their brain. And they are pretty much, in their brain, there's a projection screen, and they're making up these thoughts and ideas in their mind. So the things that are really not happening, you're not doing, that you have not done, their fears are pretty much feeding into the paranoia, and the paranoia is pretty much creating those thoughts and ideas in their head, and they're running with that. They're running with it. How many of you have dealt with someone who has severe paranoia? They're constantly on edge. They were constantly asking you questions. They were constantly accusing you of things, or they were looking through your stuff. They were looking through your phones. They were looking through your drawers. They were looking at certain things. If something was out of place in your house, how the hell did that get out of place? Did you have somebody here? It's because of all the bull crap that they're doing, and everything that they are, they're trying hard to keep up this big facade. The idea that they're completely secure with themselves, and the idea that they are, because the reality is, guys, I've explained this before, narcissists are very insecure people. They're extremely insecure people, but you would never know that. You would never know that, because they come off so well put together. You would never sit there and say, you're an insecure person. Someone who is genuinely an insecure person would project that. They would show those behaviors, would seep through their pores. But a narcissist, their thing is, I need to give you the idea that I'm a secure person. I need to give you the idea that I am not insecure, and I need you to believe that, in some cases, not all cases, guys, but in some cases, that I'm better than you, because I need you to feed out of my hand. That's what I need. I need you to feed out of my hand. And this is where a lot of female narcissists get away with a lot of shit too. A lot of them. But they need to give you that impression, because they need you to believe that they're the best. They're the best. They're the best you're going to have. They're the best you'll ever want. That's what they need you to believe. And it's sad. It really is sad. It truly, truly is sad. Hi, Call Out. How are you, sweetheart? Oh, I appreciate you, Jenna, and I'm glad it's oh wait, my computer is acting up. I'm glad. I just want you guys to really understand that, like, everything, when they say things were an illusion, things were an illusion in your relationship, it's because it was. It's because it was. A narcissist, for example, if you were in a relationship with them, they want you to believe that, like I said, they have superiority, trying to make you inferior. And that's simply because they know that you can do better than them. They know that you can have better than them. But because your supply is filling up their gas tank, they can't risk losing that. They can't risk losing that. So a lot of the time you'll notice your relationship, and mind you guys, it could be romance, it could be family. You'll notice your relationships are veering to, towards one-sidedness. It's like they're the ones who have the say so. They're the ones who have, like, they speak with, like, with a tongue of steel, and like, this is how it is, and this is how it's gonna be, and that's it. That's final. They need you to be in a certain position because they do not want you understanding or knowing that, one, you can do better than them. Two, the reason they try to isolate you while they can go ahead and do whatever the hell it is they want to do is because that jealousy, that narcissistic jealousy, that's no joke, man. That really is no joke. They can get easily jealous. Remember, their egos are fragile. So they get extremely jealous. Can you picture dealing with a narcissist? And you're a beautiful woman, you're a good looking guy, and you get attention from external sources. But here's the difference. You don't have to do what they do to get attention from external sources. Does that make sense to you? That means you can be yourself. You can go out there in the world. You can put yourself out there. You can just be yourself. And you don't have to do too much to get attention because you felt confident in yourself. How many of you had, whether it be a good amount of self-esteem or, mid-level where it wasn't that great, but it was good enough that it kept you afloat? How many of you, when it came down to the end of the discard and the end of your relationship, were completely drained of that? You felt completely drained, like you couldn't even recognize yourself. Or you went into that relationship with a very high spirit, very happy, very, cool, calm, and collected tone. You weren't bringing in your baggage of the past, meaning that anything that happened to you in your past, you were not bringing that into that dynamic. And for some reason, you found yourself paying for a lot of shit that had nothing to do with you. You found yourself paying for a lot of damage and a lot of trauma that was inflicted by other people in this person's life or in these people's lives, and it had nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing. Okay? A narcissist, a sociopath, a psychopath, complete distortion, coupled with history of mental illness. So if you're dealing with someone who has a history of mental illness in their family, let's say you were dealing with someone who is a narcissist, but also is borderline and is also bipolar. You're dealing with 3 different types of issues now. You got 2 personality disorders and a mental illness. So you're dealing with 3 separate people. That's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with 3 separate people. And dealing with someone who is a narcissist or a narcissistic borderline, because, like I said in my video, about 40% of people who suffer borderline personality disorder also suffer NPD. It's 40%. They also suffer NPD. And again, if it boils down to borderline or narcissism, let's bring it back to the root. What is the root of it? It is a personality disorder. It's deeply rooted within the personality. And this is because it was ingrained in their personality. You dealt with a narcissist. You dealt with someone who had an abuser and an enabler in their life. Okay? I'm going to repeat that. You dealt with someone who had an abuser and an enabler in their life. And if both their parents were in fact narcissists, there were other enablers surrounding that dynamic. There were other enablers surrounding that dynamic. Kara, I look sick after the discard. My friend said I look like I haven't been eating. Yeah. Yes. Honey, I didn't eat for weeks. Very little. Extremely little. One of my friends had to force feed me. I could not eat. In fact, I was actually regurgitating more than I was eating. I could not eat. And I was a completely different person when I walked away from that situation compared to who I was when I first entered that situation. Because even in the beginning, this person was like, he had this kind of demeanor of, someone like you wants to be with someone like me. And I'm like, Why not? You know, I find you attractive. You know, I was very, very upfront, forthcoming and everything. And when I started, I was healthy. I was healthy looking. I was healthy feeling. I was, you know, just dealing with other things in my life, but nothing nothing detrimental, nothing crazy. You know, I was dealing with other phases of my life. When I left that dynamic after the discard, I was completely unhealthy. My face started like drawing in. I lost a lot of weight. My clothes were hanging off of my body. I could not even wear my clothes. Everything I had would just drop. It would just hang on me. And I could not believe who I become after all of that. I went from being a bubbly personality, sweet, kind, just loving love and trying to see the good in everybody, to being completely depressed, I isolated myself. Again, I wasn't eating. I was smoking like crazy. I went from smoking, from like a pack of cigarettes would have lasted me a few days. I smoked a pack a day. I had 2 to 3 coffees a day. That's all I was consuming. That's all my body was running on, was coffee and nicotine. That's it. I was so stressed. I went through the same motions as you guys. I went through, if you've gone through it, I went through the convulsions. My body was like going through withdrawals. Okay. I went through the not being able to sleep at night. I went through almost losing my jobs because I was so depressed. I didn't even want to get out of my bed. I did not even want to get out of my bed. I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't properly focus at work. I went through all of that. I went through all of it too. Okay. I was a completely different person from that time that I went into the relationship. And from that point on, after I surrendered myself and I did everything I needed to do, I completely changed everything about myself. Everything about myself. Changed it all. My way of thinking. I went and got help. I got therapy. I started eating again. I started eating so much to the point that my pants weren't fitting me. Okay. And it got to the point, and it's funny. It's kind of funny, but I didn't I'm not one who has like a really huge butt. You know what I'm saying? I can admit that. I don't have a really huge butt. After everything, when I started eating better and I started working out and I started taking care of myself, a lot of parts of my body was just kind of, filling in the right places. You know what I'm saying? But of course, that was because I was becoming more healthy in my life and I was actually doing more with myself. And I started just to rebuild my confidence. I changed my whole wardrobe. I changed my hair. I changed my look. And it wasn't for anybody because, guys, I hadn't dated anybody. I had not dated for almost 3 years. I hadn't dated nobody. I was just by myself, just working on myself. I did it for me. I did it for me. I felt good, genuinely felt good about myself. When I walk out the door every day, I feel good about myself. And I walk with my head up, not to be conceited, not to show the world that I'm conceited, but to show the world that I'm so secure with myself, because not only am I a good person, not only is my heart as big as my butt, I learned my lessons. I've learned my lessons. And now when I want to have that relationship and I want to have that security and I want to have everything that I deserve, now I know how to get it. Now I know how to get it. And now I know how to keep it. Give me 1 second, guys. Yes, JJ. The entire family is either abusers or enablers. No matter how badly the narc husband treated me, I was seen as the abusive wife and terrible mother. I endured 24 years of horrific abuse. I'm sorry to hear that, sweetheart. And you know something? It's hard because as victims, guys, well, you guys are survivors, okay? You're no longer victims. We don't, the victim stage is the beginning stage, but you're survivors. Oh my gosh. I almost lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, JJ. Oh yes, no, I took a quick look at your comment. As you know, being in that dynamic, one thing we can't admit to, and that's what we have to take accountability for, guys. Okay, we take accountability for enabling. We take accountability for enabling, because enabling the behaviors are also toxic. It's contributing to the toxicity in the dynamic. Okay. Now, enabling, see, it's a little tricky, because people can sit there and be like, oh well, you stayed there for so long and you enabled that behavior, so what does that say about you? It says that this mofo psychologically had me believing that it is okay for them to verbally abuse me, emotionally abuse me, mentally abuse me, possibly physically abuse me, because the immense gaslighting that was going on in your dynamic was throwing you off kilter. So it basically, with the gaslighting that they were feeding you in the interim of your relationship, they had you feeling like you were crazy. Gaslighting is when they make you feel like you're going crazy. You don't remember anything. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You didn't see anything. You didn't hear anything. I never told you that. I never did this. I never did that. And they're so, like, they speak with such conviction that they have you believing them. They have you convinced that you're the one going crazy. And if you don't stop with your bull, then they would threaten to leave, or they'll threaten to, to pack their things, because you don't know how to appreciate a good man or a good woman. You don't know how to, just learn to be easy with things, or you don't know. It's always you. It's always you. You don't know. You don't know. You can't. You are. It always starts with you. So enabling is kind of hard not to do when you are being completely manipulated, when you are being gaslit, when you are being put in a position to believe that you are hearing things, you're seeing things, you're just feeling things. Let's take it up a notch, where they, if you've shared some really vulnerable things, like at a vulnerable time, you share some really personal things with them, they may even try to use your past against you. Oh well, listen, I can see why your ex did what they did, or why they left you, or why they, they slept with your friend, or whatever the case may be. I can see why they did it, because you're constantly accusing people of not doing things. You're constantly, and the one funny thing that I'm pretty sure that some of you probably have heard. I would never do that to you. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard that. Why would I do something like that? I would never do something like that to you. If you've heard that, just raise your hand, okay? Please raise your hand. Everybody who's heard that phrase, I would never do something like that to you. I would never do that to you. Put the emoji. Raise your hands, okay, with the emoji if you have heard that. That's awesome, Butch. That is awesome. I'm so happy for you. And I know it started off rough for you, because I remember when you first started. And I remember when you messaged me on my podcast. That was the first place that you messaged me, and then we went to the email, and here you are now. Here you are now. And you're just progressing so much, and I am so proud of you for that, dude. I really, really am. And speaking with you on the phone, hearing your voice, you have like such a humbling, warm, like a warm tone, and that's just completely awesome. You deserve it, bro. You really, really do. You really do. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at all those hands. Look at those hands. I would never do that to you. I could never do something like that to you. How could you think that way? How could you think that way about me? How could Oh, EJ, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. How could you think that way? How could you think that I would go and behind your back and do something like that? That is a clear, and mind you guys, mind you, it doesn't just have to be your relationships. It could be your family too. Oh, family too. Family too, guys. If it's your family too, let me know, because I'm gonna tell you something. I told you guys, they use that family card. They'll use that family card on you. They'll be like, we're family. We're family. You know, you don't turn your back on family. You don't do this on family. You don't do that on family. So it's okay for you to lie to me. It's okay for you to manipulate me. It's okay for you to put me in a position I don't want to be in, that I'm not comfortable in, but I can't stand up for myself because we're family. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. Oh, yes. Sicily, I'd never lie. I'm a grown woman. I'd never cheat. I'm not that kind of woman. When they have to constantly tell you, or if they have to constantly like embed it in your brain, I'm loyal, I'm honest, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not like this, I'm not like that. When they have to, and this is usually when they're like kind of like giving it, like you're not even saying, you know, if you ask them, well, are you loyal, that's a different story. But if they're just constantly trying to convince you, they're trying to convince you that they are extremely loyal, that they are, you know, they're lovers and they're sweethearts and they're this and they're that. They gotta constantly try to convince you. That is a red flag, sweetheart. That is a red flag. Okay? People don't have to convince anyone of anything. You don't have to convince anyone of anything. Your actions show. Your actions would show it. Okay? But now if you're dealing with I want to say more modernized type of narcissist, if you're dealing with the kind of narcissist that reads and watches in and, you know, basically learns and studies people, then they know that by just simply telling you it's not going to be enough, they have to show it in their actions. But that wouldn't last for long either. That would not last for long either, because a narcissist is pretty much, I'm going to work it. I'm going to work it on you just enough to the point that when I get you on the pedestal, when everything's said and done and it's my turn, I'm going to tear you down. Ty, narcs aren't loyal, only loyal to the game. They're loyal to themselves. They don't know how to sustain relationships. They really don't know how to sustain relationships. And a lot of them, and this is why I tell people, listen, like I said, you know, they've been through their ish. They've gone through their lives dealing with parents who have, you know, deprived them, because that's exactly what it is. Their parents deprived them. Okay. When a parent deprives their child of emotional connection, mental connection, you know, just every single connection that a child needs to have sustainability in their life, to be able to, you know, have interpersonal skills with people throughout their lives. When a parent deprives the child of these, you know, these necessities, because that's what that is, it can happen one of two ways. It can happen one of two ways. It can either be the child becomes a codependent child, where they do not function, you know, they do not function properly, healthily in relationships, and they become very clingy in their relationships, but they're still empathetic. Or they can have a narcissist child, where the narcissist is this child is pretty much identifying with the abuse of the parent, because the abuse that the parent has inflicted on them has shown them that this parent can do all of this to me, and it's a form of mind control. They're getting away with it, so I can do the same thing. They're self-preserving. They're doing that. That's exactly. And when they're doing the discard is just pretty much, you know, I'm rejecting you before you reject me. I'm leaving you before you leave me. And I've bled you dry to where you can't take it anymore. And now I just have no use for you anymore. At least not right now. Because their thing is, it's right now. Right now. It's, you know, they can come back a month later. They can come back a year later. They can come back 5 years later. It's never really over for them. It's never over for them. It's over for you, but it's not over for them. And to even, know that if I'm a narcissist, the chance of me trying to come back, you bruise my ego, you hurt my ego, you reject me, or whatever the case may be, that can cause an uproar. That really can. That really truly can. And when I was doing some of my research, you know, you have different people when they're like, oh well, how to deal with narcissists. My thing is, do I have to? Do I have to? Like, if I have to, excuse me, if I have to at work, maybe. Not in my relationships. I'm not dealing with a narcissist. Not in my family. I'm not dealing with a narcissist. I won't do it. I will not do it. The only way I'll deal with a narcissist is if it's at work and I have no choice. I would separate myself from someone who is a narcissist. I would separate myself from someone who works because, at the end of the day, my rent still needs to get paid. But I do not have to like them. I don't have to deal with them. I do not have to, communicate with them on a personal level. I don't have to do any of those things. But oftentimes you have people who end up staying with narcissists. They end up staying with them, which I'm not going to sit here and, and bash them, because that's their choice. That's their preference. But there are, according to some psychiatrists and psychologists, well, there are ways to work around a narcissist. The hell do I want to work around the narcissist for? Why would I want to do that? Isn't that kind of like enabling? Seriously. I really truly think, you know what? If someone is a narcissist, the only way someone can be in my life that was a narcissist is that keyword was. They got the help they needed. They're going for therapy. They're getting their damn brain reprogrammed. That's the only way I would ever consider being around someone who was diagnosed as a narcissist with NPD or extreme narcissistic traits. That is the only way. There is no freaking way, with you knowing that you're a narcissist, you knowing that you have not changed, you knowing that you are on that bullshit, that you're going to come into my life, you're going to be around here and disrupt my peace because you're miserable, because you're no. Ooh. Nope. No. I'll catch a case. I'm good. I will not do it. Your ex, Cicely, my ex used to watch Jerry Springer all the time, every episode. She even used to record it on DVR. She probably likes that drama stuff. A lot of them like drama. They like to cause drama. They like to start drama. And it's crazy. It's just, and then the thing is that when they start the drama, they start the issues. It never really ends with everyone confronting the narcissist. The narcissist may start something, they'll open the door to something, and everybody can be on this side fighting one another, because that's what they do. They love to cause drama. They love to start issues. What it is it's called triangulation. So if they have one group of friends on one side and another group of friends on the other side, and one group of friends was talking about that other group, confiding in the narcissist, they're talking about that other group or whatever the case may be. What the narcissist will end up doing is they'll go from that first group, they'll go to the second group, and they will basically subtly let that group know that that other group was talking crap about them. And what that group is naturally going to do is they're naturally going to react towards that group because, well, you talking shit about me, blah, blah, blah. And it was all, and you'll see those two groups fighting each other, battling each other, while the narcissist is just like this, sitting there, watching those two groups fight, watching them argue. That's what they do. That's what they do. Jenna, Jenna says they truly frightened me, like awoke my inner child, fear of the dark all over again. I personally believe, Jenna, when these people come into our lives, you're always going to have a catalyst. There's always going to be a catalyst. You're going to always have someone that's going to affect you in such a way. They're going to affect you in such a way that it's going to open up a lot of doors. It's going to open up a lot of different issues. And what I want you to understand is that if you found yourself either in the same cycle, back and forth with the same person, or the same cycle with, different people, different narcissists, you have to remember that one, whether you attracted them or they attracted you, whichever the case may be, because you guys can easily, pick up a narcissist and vice versa. What held on to the person was your trauma. Whatever traumas you had, your trauma connected with their trauma. Okay? If you found yourself dealing with the narcissist and dealing with the abuse, enabling, you found yourself staying in that, exactly, Stella said it, trauma bond. You found yourself staying in that dynamic because something within their trauma triggered something with yours, and there was a familiarity with it. Okay, so if I don't know if you were maybe codependent, which it's very common. Empathic people, empathetic people, codependency is very common, and codependent narcissistic relationships are extremely common. Those are the kind of relationships that last a lot longer than a narcissist and a secure attachment, or a narcissist and another narcissist. So if you were codependent and you were with this person for a very long time, that person was meant to be there because that person needed to be the catalyst to help you face your codependency. That person's trauma needed to help push you out of it. And I always say, you want to break codependency? Yeah, go hard for a narcissist, and trust me, or someone extremely narcissistic, you'll break out of it just like that. But your trauma, your inner trauma, was holding on to that trauma. Maybe there was something in that dynamic that brought back memories, familiar, I should say, memories. And your trauma was holding on to it for dear life. That's common. It's very common. It's very common. When I didn't realize it at the time, but when I was going through the discard, I noticed the more he rejected me, the more I was trying to hold on. The more I kept coming back, the more I kept trying to pretty much say, don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. You're going to forget me. You're going to forget about me. I can't, it was kind of like that. I can't live without you type of vibe. And I guess that was at a point where God was like, all right, you know what? You're getting ridiculous, Erica. You're getting a little ridiculous. Okay. Because you're putting a man before me. You're worshiping a man. You're getting on your knees and you're worshiping a man, okay? When I'm the one who pulls you out of the fire. I'm the one who helped you with everything in your life. I'm the one who secured you when you were living in those nasty, rough neighborhoods. I'm the one who made sure you got home safe. I'm the one who made sure you ducked and dodged all those bullets just to get to school. I'm the one who did all that. And you're going to get on your knees for a man who doesn't even bother to come to me himself? On you, God. That's what I said. I said, it's on you. You want me to do this, then I'm going to do this. And I got off my knees. And I said, the only time I'm going to get on my knees is either to pray to God or I'm doing it for my husband. That's it. But I'm not going to, put anybody ahead of me ever again. The only one who goes ahead of me is God and my son. That is it. I'm not, and the problem with the kind of relationships with narcissists is that you go from being in love to like really worshiping. It becomes that level of worship. You're worshiping this person. You're overvaluing this person while they undervalue you. You're overvaluing their existence while they're minimizing yours. That's the kind of relationship that you had with these people, guys. That's the kind of relationship that they felt you deserved, that they felt that you should, you know, my loyalty was taken as a form of desperation. And at the end of the day, what does that say about that person? Not about me. My loyalty was never faulty. My loyalty was never, it didn't have cracks in it. I had options. I had plenty of options, but I didn't take the bait. I didn't take the bait on those options. And I got looked at like, you're desperate. Your loyalty is making you, yeah, Cicely, it was. Definitely was. It definitely was. That's when, and that's when I had to understand. And that's why I go hard in reminding you guys, reminding you that post that I put up earlier today, when they would, what was it? When they think about coming back, think about how they left. I want to input that in your mind because I want you to understand that people of this nature will go through any lengths and do anything to try to get you back if they feel that their supply is either running extremely low, if they get desperate enough, or if they see that you are so much in your power and you're so strong and you're doing everything you have to do, that they want a piece of that. They want a piece of the spotlight. They want a piece in your life. If you're abundant, if you get money, if you're working, you're buying your own spot, you got your own car, you're doing your own thing, you're actually being happy. They want a piece of that. Yet they never contributed to that. They never gave you anything for that. You worked for that. You did all of that on your own. So it's my job to remind you. They come knocking on your door. You know how they have the "What would Jesus do" bracelets? What would Erica do? That's all you need. And think about it. Think about it. Everything you worked hard for, everything you guys worked on, how far you have come from where you were to this very point. Do you want to reopen that door? That's why I really, yes, Kara. Exactly. You are willing to suffer for people who aren't even worthy of who you are. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys got to remember that you are becoming, if you decide to, I mean, listen, I can't tell you guys what to do. I really could not tell you guys what to do. I can tell you what I would do, but I can't tell you what to do. You have to remember that you're dealing with people who have been let down by their caregivers. They've been let down by the people who were supposed to be taking care of them and showing them. And granted, this is all due to the fact that their parents, their caregivers have been let down by the people who were supposed to be doing the same. It's a generational thing, guys. You've done everything you could do. You've done absolutely everything you could do. You could have loved them beyond measure. You could have continued to try to put in your energy and your effort and your love, and you could have done everything you possibly could have done. Their actions, their projections, their bad behaviors, their nasty talks, everything. It's all about them. It was never about you. None of it was about you. Okay? Everything they did was about them. It was how they feel about themselves. It was all the trauma that they had in their own lives. It was all about them, never about you. Thanks to marrying me, she became a U.S. citizen. I told her, and she said, "You didn't take the test from me." She is so ungrateful. Yeah, Sergio, you gotta be careful with stuff like that too. You definitely gotta be careful with stuff like that. Like you want to, when it boils down to someone who, when it boils down to someone who is looking to get married for situations like that, I mean, if it ain't love, don't do it. Don't do it. Seriously, don't do it. And at the end of the day, if they're looking for their citizenship, they need to get in the line just like everybody else. I mean, at the end, if it really was about just the love and the connection between the two of you, it'd been me, I'd have been like, I hope you get your citizenship. don't think I'm going to marry you to give you citizenship. You know, that's of course my attitude on it, my take on it. But just be extremely careful. Be extremely careful. And yeah, Kara, I know it's hard. Kara says, it's been 4 months no contact, but it's been hard forgiving myself, especially when kids are involved. The people in his life indirectly mistreated my daughter to inflict pain on me. Keep your daughter away from them. Keep your daughter away from them. Please. One thing I can say, Kara, is, you know, you've been through it, and I know you're getting through it, and you are going through the motions, and you're working on it. You don't want that to be projected onto your daughter. You know, the children are so vulnerable, and children are just so, you know, and I mean, as a parent, I look at my son, he could be 40 and he'll still be my baby. He will still always be my baby, you know, and you don't want her to grow up with that kind of mentality, or for her to internalize that, you know, those behaviors and take them on as her own. You want her to have as much normality in her life as possible, as much healthiness, healthy boundaries, relationships in her life as much as possible. You know, because I give it to you. You're strong. Because if somebody were to hurt no, yet again, another case. David, it could be karma's coming for the narcissist. He took them away, so you don't share into their karma. Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Also, guys, remember when I told you about the narcissist and their karma? See, people tend to think they don't go through karma. They think that, oh, well, you know, the narcissist just bounces around from person to person, or they bounce around from situation to situation, and you know, I'm willing to guess they don't get their karma. Remember what I told you guys, okay? They're about image. What they're going through in their personal life, if it's bad, if it reflects negatively, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to try to cover it up, or they're going to play the victim. They're going to play the victim. I can't believe this is happening to me. I don't understand. How is this happening? How could this happen to me? How? Me. It's all about them, right? But they're victims of their own circumstances. They're victims of their own circumstances. And as sure as I am that there is a God, they will face their karma. They will. And like I said, it may not be in the way you would want them to. You know, a lot of people who've endured abuse would want to see, I'm not gonna say like, you know, crazy like death type stuff on them. Nah, you don't wish that on anybody. But people do want to see a manipulator, someone who manipulated them, face their karma. I personally say, you know, something, you know, I put it in God's hands. I'm like, listen, I was a good person to this person. I was, you know, I felt no need to wish anything bad. But, you know, if you have a wrath that you want to unleash on this person, I won't stand in your way. And that's me. That's me. Karma hits these people in different ways, guys. It hits them in different ways. It can hit them in their pockets. It can hit them in their jobs. It can hit them, you know, with their homes. It can hit them anywhere. It can hit them anywhere. Okay? And the only thing you can do is just stay as far away from them as possible, because you don't want to get in the mix of that. You really don't. Stella, the narc I dated was so verbally abusive. I was called some horrid names, hard things. I can imagine, because a lot of them are very, you know, and just remember, Stella, that it wasn't about you. That was pretty much how they feel about themselves. As hard as it may seem to, you know, believe, because a lot of people say, well, don't take what the narcissist does, or don't take what they say personally. That is hard to do. That is hard to do, especially when you were not aware that you're dealing with someone who has a personality disorder. That's extremely hard to do. How can you not take something personal? Maybe after, when you've calmed and you've detached and you learn and you say, okay, now I understand. So everything they were doing and they were saying, it wasn't about me. It was nothing personal against you. It becomes personal if you decide to stand up for yourself. And it becomes personal if you decide not to let them re-enter your life. then it becomes personal for them, because it's that like, who are you to reject me type of vibe, because they can't be rejected. It's, you loved me once, you were there for me, you were loyal to me, now all of a sudden you're not any of these things for me. Nah, you showed me what kind of an asshole you are, so why should I be? Why should I bother? Why bother dealing with you? Why bother dealing with anything that involves you? But at the end, it's about everything they projected onto you is that self-concept, that distorted self-concept, that anger, that frustration, that paranoia. Everything was about them. Okay? When you're dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with someone who's walking with their demons. They're walking with their demons. They're constantly battling them. You just don't want to be around people like that. You really don't. You really don't. It's going to have to take them going through God to get to you, And if they're not willing to do that, they're not worth it either. But I don't know. I don't know what it is, guys. Like, I'm like so blind. Or maybe it's these damn lashes. These damn eyelashes. I'm like, if I keep messing with them, I have like a caterpillar on my face. Ty, they will literally cuss you out and then 10 seconds love bomb you. Ask me how I know. Oh. And that's where NPD is similar to BPD, because borderlines do the same thing. They get intensely, angry and just, irate and very, very volatile. And then it's like maybe a couple of hours later, it's like, okay, I'm over it. Like, what the hell? Kara, selfish. They will already have a new relationship, but anger at you, discarding them. Abandonment, rage, insecurity. I don't believe it gets better. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things, when it boils down to, I'm going to do a video. I think I'll do another video. Cicely, I have seen your request for that video on psychopaths, so I'll start working on that one. It may take me a little bit because there's probably a lot to delve into. But I'm going to do a video of and this may apply to some people, guys. If it doesn't, hey, show your support, still watch the video, okay? But I'm going to do a video on signs that you were dating an inverted narcissist. This would primarily go for people who have dated a narcissist, who've found themselves going back to narcissistic exes. Inverted narcissists are people who can only sustain relationships with other narcissists. I'll include family in it too. I definitely wanted to do it. I've been for a while wanting to do a video on that, signs that you're dating or you dated an inverted narcissist, you're dealing with an inverted narcissist. Okay. And as always, guys, give me suggestions if you have any. I can maybe compile a few things, or maybe do like a multiple compilation, just to kind of get things out there for everybody, who needs any kind of help for their specific needs. So definitely, keep me up to speed on that if you do want something. But I do want to do a video on inverted narcissists. I think that one of the things, and again, it may not be for any of you, but it can be for anyone who's dealing with a narcissist. Good question, Cicely. Are codependents like inverted narcissists? And it's funny because I said this in my video when I did the video on inverted narcissists. Codependents, no. Clear-cut answer, no. Inverted narcissists are narcissists, okay? They are codependent, covert narcissists. And they are basically They sustain relationships with other narcissists, whether it be in their family or in their romantic relationships. If you've dealt with let me just give you the example of an inverted narcissist who was in a relationship with another narcissist. When it boils down to the discard, meaning if the other narcissist discarded the inverted narcissist, it would really be nothing but okay, it's like a regular breakup type of thing. It would not have the kind of effect on them the way the PTSD effect was on you. If you were codependent, if you were secure attachment, it does not have that kind of effect on them. They do not believe that, because they're, again, their inner self-esteem is so beyond low. But an inverted narcissist finds it easier to deal with another narcissist because that toxicity is something that they're used to, something they believe they deserve, I guess, as opposed to dealing with a codependent, an inverted with a codependent or a secured person. Relationships do require work, and unfortunately, when it boils down to any type of narcissist, when it becomes too much work or it becomes too much for them to handle, it's like it's easier to go back to what you know, at least for them. But give me 1 second. Dark empaths. That's actually I was, what's funny, Ty? I was reading up on that too, because empaths can besides dark empaths, you have empaths that if they become extremely angry, extremely volatile, it can be very dangerous. But I'll look into that too. I'll definitely look into that. But inverted narcissists are pretty much the types of narcissists that just they have more sustainability with other narcissists in toxic relationships, in toxic dynamics. They're not capable of sustaining a relationship with longevity with a codependent or even a secure attachment. So if they were to be discarded by a fellow narcissist, it would just be pretty much like, all right, so what am I going to do? Because it's another narcissist. But if they were to be discarded by a codependent or a secured attachment, narcissistic rage, all of that bull crap that comes with it. Okay, so I'll get more into that when I do the next video. And again, this is it touches close to home for me because I have dated. After learning about it, I have dated a couple of inverted narcissists, and I could never understand. So if you were dealing with with someone that you thought was about you or whatever the case may be, and they go back to their toxic ex, or they go back to the environment of their toxic ex, if they discarded you for them, or if they discarded you and decided to continue dealing with them, or they could be, they could be an inverted narcissist. Because if you seem normal, you seem pretty, you're down to earth, you are that happy-go-lucky, bubbly kind of person, and they're dealing with their toxic ex. Everything you thought that you were helping them get away from, the trauma, the triggers, the memories, the pain, the sorrow, all of this. It's like, if you dealt with an inverted narcissist and they tell you stuff, this is where it gets tricky, because if you dealt with them and they told you stuff about that ex and the person you were dealing with is an inverted, chances are they were telling you the truth, but they were probably doing it to each other. I'm just saying. Still got a little more into it. Yeah, call out. I definitely want to check that. I want to, I like to do all of my research. I like to cover all my bases before I do, videos. A lot of the short videos are pretty much, like I said, compelled videos, because, I already know the feeling behind it. I've already been through it. And if I'm compelled to do it, I'll do it. But videos and giving general information as far as, in a psychology stance, I definitely always love to do my research. And I love to gather everything together to make it, presentable create the presentation for you guys. So that way I'm implementing all of the pertinent information, and I'm giving you guys what I think would be best for you to know. And of course, if there are any questions, you guys know me, I'll be more than glad to answer them. But let's see. So guys, I'm just looking. I'm looking. Call out. My ex is convinced my mom has borderline personality disorder too. Not only is she a narc, but she has BPD as well, according to him. Yeah, call out. Unless your mother has been diagnosed, unless, she has been completely diagnosed on that, I think it's just best to, people can have their opinions, but it's better to not let people inject that into your mind. Okay. I mean, I don't know if your mom does suffer from these, but at the end of the day, it's because projection can be trying to convince someone that they're the ones with the personality disorder, they're the ones with the problem, they're the ones with the mental illness, and so forth and so on. So it's usually better to make sure that she gets diagnosed if need be. Davey, you have to wonder why it all happened all of a sudden at times. It's like something came into their mind to make them feel a certain way, thus making them leave. Who made it come into their mind? A lot of what's been implemented in their mind, Davey, is again, it's behaviors, it's situations, it's abuse that has been ingrained in their mind. Anything can trigger these people. Anything can trigger them. Okay? Narcissists are walking triggers, waiting to be pulled. That's it. So if you were giving them, for example, if you're dating someone who has a narcissist mother, everybody knows the mother's supposed to be maternal, right? She's supposed to be maternal. She's supposed to be loving. She's supposed to be caring. She's supposed to be the one that, that supplies her children with all the love and emotions in the world. And you're dating someone who has a mother who does the total opposite of that. She does not provide emotional support, no type of mental support. She does not interact or involve herself with her child or her children. She only does it when it benefits her. She only does it when it looks good in the public eye or whatever the case may be. But she has no real connection with her child or children. To go most of their lives, because a lot of narcissists, end up either, again, dealing with, may deal with a fellow narcissist, because they may end up attracting another narcissist, which is in essence, the replica of their mother, who is the narcissist. But you're dealing with someone who has been rejected, ladies, who's been rejected by his mother, gentlemen, who's been rejected by her mother. You're dealing with someone who's been dealing with rejection since childhood. Okay? They've been dealing with rejection since childhood. That instilled abandonment issues, that instilled rejection issues, that instilled avoidance issues, that instilled codependency issues. Okay? Narcissists are people who have been emotionally, mentally, in some cases physically rejected by either one or both of their parents. And it can be on any different level. So to avoid doing that, to avoid that rejection coming from you, they are always on guard with it. They're always in preservance, self-preservance. Well, you guys know what I mean. They're always on guard, and they're always in that. I'm just I'm staying closed off, and I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna do what I need to do to get what I want because I was raised to be that way. A child is, can only do but so much when they're out of the womb, right? They can't really do much for themselves. They can't fend for themselves when they're a baby. So it is the responsibility of the parents. And people tend to think that babies, infants, don't know what's going on in their environment. Can't feel, yes, self-defense mode as well. Yes, Cicely. Infants don't know their environment. They don't know anything. The only thing they know is the sound of their mother and their father's voice, and in some cases, their parents' scent. That's all they know. So if you have a parent who rejects their child and makes that child feel like you're an option, or makes that child feel like I only want you around when it's convenient for me, makes them feel like I only want you around to serve me, it's either gonna have a very big counter effect, which means it's gonna turn the child into stone, and that child is just gonna be about themselves because the parents wouldn't provide for them, wouldn't supply them, so they gotta pretty much just go out there in the world and do it on their own. Or it's going to create a child who's very fearful and very anxious because they're scared. This is where it boils down to we have to figure out who's who. Because that same parent, they can create, that one same parent can create two children that have totally opposite reactions to that abuse. It is abuse, guys. It's abuse. Abandonment is abuse. I'm sorry, it is. You should never abandon your child. You should never, ever walk away from your child. You should never leave your child because you are all about your own needs. You're all about your own life. I still have to live. I still have to have a life. Who told you to lay down and make them? Unfortunately, guys, their parents are just doing what they learned, doing what was ingrained in their mind, and they just passed it on to their children. They passed it on to their children. And I really wish there's a better way to handle those situations. But in your case, you going no contact, you just going your own way and handling your own stuff, doing your own thing. That's what matters. That's all that matters. That is all that matters. Oh, Jenna, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Jenna, I know I displayed codependency in my past, primarily to serve and protect as the mediator in my family, but I rarely ever had a problem severing ties amongst those who felt inherently ugly. And you know what, Jenna? That's funny because I'm the same way. I'm the same way. It's like that. It's they're their energy doesn't sit with your spirit. It doesn't sit with your spirit, and it's like I'm not. No. I don't care if you're family. I don't care if you're family. If wrong is wrong, and that's just the way it is. And the codependency. Codependency is overcomable. Not even a word. Overcomable. If it's not a word, it's a word now. It's overcomable. It's overcomable. Okay, we're making up words here, guys. It's defeatable. There you go. It's defeatable. Oh man. But it's it's workable. You can work through it. You can get over codependency. You can get over all of that stuff and have, hey, I'm making up words, okay? I'm good at that. I can make up words. But you can get over that. You really can. And once you get through your codependency, you really truly see yourself. You see your value, and you're like, holy crap, I'm worth that much? Really? And all this time, everybody over here had me thinking that I wasn't worth a damn thing, that I'm nothing but an option, and I'm just desperate, and I'm this and I'm that. And you mean to tell me? You mean to I should, right? But you mean to tell me that I actually am worth way more than that, and I can actually have the kind of relationship and the love that I deserve? You'd be amazed, Jenna, amazed. And it does take time working through it. There are times you're going to have overcome. I'm sorry, honey. No, it's a word now. Okay, don't play Scrabble with me because I'm gonna tell you right now, we'll be challenging each other. But Jenna, it's it does take time to get through it, and when you do get through it, and you just manage to really, you just begin to breathe again. You get to breathe again, and you get to just feel good about yourself, and you get to, no more sleepless nights, no more having to deal with any of that. The mask, really, really, dude. Like, you're really trying to throw me over. Now, I was gonna say something to that, but Amanda, can you just block him, please? I'm going into my Zen mode, guys. This pumpkin candle got me feeling really good about myself, so I'm not even gonna let anyone's negativity get in the way of anything. Hold on 1 second, guys. Oh gosh. Okay, let's see. Sadie Garcia, do they create fake accounts to spy? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. If they don't, I mean, they usually do, but if they don't, they'll get their flying monkeys to do it. They get flying monkeys to do it. They get other people to do their dirty work for them. And amazingly, believe it or not, guys, as much as they want you to believe, even if that person wants you to believe that they're like over you, they're moving on with their life, on whatever it is, what it is, I don't care. That's why I dumped you and all that crap. They're still watching you. They still watch you. They watch your moves. They whether it be in person that they're looking around your house, they're looking around your job, or they're searching you on social media. They may have their friends watching you. They may have, family members watching you. They can have different people watching you. They can create a number of accounts, fake accounts. And I've had to deal with that. I've had to deal with that crap for a while, but then like I got to a point where I was like, yo, I'm not gonna entertain this no more. Like, you guys want a reaction from me. You know what I'm saying? They want a reaction, they want something from you. So they try to just to keep an eye on you, keep an eye on what's going on in your life, keep an eye on what you're doing, and it's like it's just a pain. It really is a pain. See? Yep, inspire resilience. Yep, mine posted under a name with my last name, but he's so dumb he forgot the phone was linked to his fake account. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Like, they go through all of that to sit there and watch you, but if you notice, they do it because of, like I said, guys, you're their focus. Clearly, if the supply runs low, if it just ran out, whatever the case may be, and it's like, you know it either way, you will have always been an option. You will have always been an option, even if they're watching you. And because the narcissist, let me tell you something, guys, if they are upset, if they're angry, if they're in pain, if they're feeling a certain kind of way, it's not because they lost you. It's not because they lost the love of their life. It's because they are, I want to say this the proper way. It's not because they lost the love of their life, okay? Even though I know you guys felt that you did. But it's simply because they don't know how to self-soothe. They don't know how to lick their own wounds. They're just basically like, it's like, take accountability for what you have done. Take accountability for everything that you were doing. And I may consider having an adult conversation with you. But no, they'd rather sit there behind their computer screens, behind their phones, behind their shades, behind their, behind, who knows, their tinted windows of their car. They rather sit there and freaking watch you be obsessed. They will sit there and do all of this nonsense and not grow up and take accountability for what they do, for what they have done, and admit to their wrongdoings. They won't do that. So if they were to come back, and let's just say they came back to you and they were crying, okay? Those are crocodile tears, guys. They're not crying because they hurt you. They're not crying because they put you in a position of despair and pain, and they're crying because they're feeling bad for themselves. Oh no, I lost my new supply and I lost the last person that I had, my old supply. I don't have anyone. But they're coming to you and showing you, I love you, I'm sorry, this and that, blah, blah, blah. All this bullshit, because that's what it is, guys. It's bullshit. And they're not doing it with the best intentions. They're doing it with the intention of feed me. Y'all ever seen that movie, Little Shop of Horrors? With the huge Venus flytrap that talks. He's like, feed me, Seymour. That's exactly what the freaking narcissist is. Anybody who comes in his path, he's just going to chomp on them. That's it. That's it. That is it. That's all it is. Cicely, that's even if she has tear ducts to cry. If they cry, if they show you tears, it's not for what you think. It's not because they're mad at themselves for letting you go. It's not because they're hurt because they hurt you. It's because they're only thinking about themselves, and they feel either left out in the cold, or they feel like, damn, I don't got nothing. I don't have no new supply. My old supply doesn't want anything to do with me. I can't drain any more energy. They're not giving me any energy. You notice how all of that has to do with them? It has nothing to do with, I am sorry for hurting you. I'm sorry for putting you through that. I'm sorry for not acknowledging you, not acknowledging your pain, not acknowledging everything. I want to take accountability for my actions. And even if they do come to you and tell you all of that, you still have to sit there with your guard up, because at the end of the day, pray on it. Pray on it. Trust me. I'm glad, Jenna. I'm glad. Pray on it and ask God, did this person change? Or are you allowing him or her back in my life to test me? You figure it out from there. He'll tell you. He'll let you know. Because sometimes God's going to let the same person who hurt you, he's going to let that person back into your life. As much as you can say, I've healed, I've learned my lessons, I did everything I had to do. Cool beans. Cool beans. God will put that person right back. He'll let that person right back in. I want to make sure you learned your lesson. So it's not just about coming back to who you in or whatever the case may be. It could be God letting this person come back in because he wants to see if you really are, if you really learned, if you've learned your lesson. Did you learn? Do you now? Are you ready to receive the love you deserve? Are you ready to be amongst people who deserve you, who you deserve, who are beneficial for you? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? And you better be ready. You better be ready, guys. Yes, Butch. They're very selfish. Very selfish people. They care about their own needs. It's about their needs, their wants. Okay? Which is why I tell you, hold on one second, Davey. Which is why I tell you that when everything was, when everything happened and everything was pretty much said and done, she was only thinking about herself. She was thinking about herself. And, that was your ample opportunity. When everything went down the way it did for you and her, that was your ample opportunity to say, I don't need this. And then remember you telling me you found God, and boom, everything. I mean, clearly you've had God in your life for quite some time, but it really pushes you closer. It pushes you closer to him. The whole experience pushes you closer to him. Rose, in 20 years, my narc cried 4 times. The last time was when he lost in trail or trial. I just want to make sure I read that right, hon. So if you could just confirm that for me. Yeah, Ty. Yeah, and oftentimes if they are crying, they're crying because of what it is that they can possibly lose out of the situation. It has nothing to do with you or your emotions. Or if they are crying, it's because they're thinking about a traumatic experience or a trauma from their past that was affecting them, that is affecting them, but it has nothing to do with you or your feelings. Yep. Let me see. Davey, they don't miss you. They miss the time they lost. According to them, you tricked them. Yep, that's usually how it is. Ty says, I believe a $3 bill over a narc. Be careful because they might try to go to make those too. I'm just saying. Davey, Erica, how can the narcissist stalk you on YouTube? Well, if you're anything like me and you have a channel and you broadcast, that's possible. But if you if you just have like an account with YouTube that you're just checking out other accounts or videos or whatever the case may be, if you're not using any of your real information, I really don't think they would know. I really don't think they could know about your YouTube account. I mean, clearly it's easier for someone if someone was trying to like stalk me or whatever, and I'm clearly doing videos and I'm putting up content, so it's not hard. But if it's a regular account that you just use to watch videos or what have you, then there really should be no way unless they have some kind of spyware on your phone or something and they're monitoring your activity. Hey, Gil. Go ahead. Ask. Gil, you said you had a question? Okay. My friend Rob is married and his wife goes out every Friday night, but bitches about him always working. Is she the narc? I mean, she may. I mean, because I would have to know a little bit more in regards to that relationship. Because for someone to be a narcissist, they have to meet certain criteria, and they have to be displaying certain, a number of behaviors. But I mean, it's not uncommon to be narcissistic. It's not uncommon to have traits of a narcissist where they're not necessarily a full-blown narcissist, but they have certain traits and behaviors. So that could be a possibility. But she would have to be displaying a number of behaviors to determine if she's an actual narcissist. Let me see. Yeah, I would say, Davey, as far as the whole spying thing. Why is that? I don't know why this is. But the whole spying thing, yeah, I mean, it's anything is possible when it boils down to a narcissist. You know, a lot of them like to implement spyware. They like to monitor everything. You know, from social media to, like I said, to your house. You know, they could be in your freaking bushes. I mean, that it's possible. And anything is possible when it boils down to them. So I wouldn't put anything past them when it comes to accounts and it comes to media and things to that effect. I don't believe so, Davey. I to be honest don't know. I never attempted to send anyone any private messages, so I don't know. But I don't. Erica, how do you know when someone doing a smear on their ex and when someone telling the truth about their ex? Well, prime example. I'll give you the prime example. That'll be, yeah, I guess, the last question I want to answer. But my prime example of how you know someone is telling the truth about their ex and how someone is smearing their ex. I'll use myself as an example. What I am doing, my content, my experiences, everything that I put up, everything that I talk about when it boils down to my experiences. These are actual events that happened. These are actual things that have happened. And my utilizing my experiences to help other people is considered testimony. Okay? That's what it's considered, testimony. In the interim of explaining all of these experiences and doing all of these things, I am not revealing identities. I'm not, trying to antagonize. I am not doing things behind people's backs. Everything I do is public. Everything I do is well known throughout. And I am not sitting here, calling this person names, derogatory names, or trying to hurt this person in a way that just defames their character. If I wanted to smear, I could have easily revealed who this person was. I could have easily just used everything that I had, every bit of evidence, every bit of proof and everything, and exploit this person. But I'm not doing it. That is telling the truth. That is testifying to your story. When an ex is smearing, they are pretty much exploiting the person or the people that they have targeted. Okay? And prime example of smearing was when my ex's ex did that to him. When everything happened the way they did, boom, she was posting up things online. She was talking. Everything was indicative of your ex, so-and-so, is clearly doing all of this stuff because you're posting up this and that and this and that and boom, 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 and blah, blah, blah. That's the clear-cut difference between smearing and telling your truth. Okay? With her doing what she did on her end or what she does on her end, may have gotten some backlash from him. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that side. But what I do on my end is clearly me expressing my experiences and utilizing it to help other people not to exploit people. So, when someone is smearing your character, they're smearing you. They're going for everything they can possibly go for to try to really bring you down and try to really defame your character. And they will have people that will be their flying monkeys. They will have people that are going to, that are going to jump on their bandwagon. They're going to pretty much side with them. But when I tell you guys to speak your truths and just, speak on your experiences and really, really create the awareness, please don't think that you're smearing these people, because you're not. You're not smearing them. You are expressing events. You are expressing things that have happened. You are expressing everything that transpired in your dynamic. Hold on a second. Nah, homie, ain't that type of party. So ain't that type of party. We're not doing that. So guys, but yeah, keep talking about it. Keep talking about it and keep, woo, my candle is like burning right now, extremely burning because of that. But keep talking about it, guys. Keep talking about it. Keep moving forward and keep expressing, keep creating the awareness. Do not fear, do not fear the enemy. Don't fear them. Don't have them sitting here trying to convince you that you're bitter, you are smearing, you're a bitter person, you can't get over it, and this and that. None of them. That's all the way to get you to try to forget what you had gone through so you can go ahead and take another round of it. And it's not going to happen. Keep doing what you got to do, guys. Keep focusing on it and keep making sure that your story is heard. Your story is told and it's heard. Okay? Don't let anybody stop you. And don't let anybody try to shut you up, because you got big sister Erica here. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But guys, thank you, Onita. Thank you, sweetheart. Exactly, Inspire. Exactly. You're welcome, Cicely. You guys are so very welcome. I'm glad you guys were able to come out tonight. I'm glad I was able to be here tonight with you guys, even though the freaks started coming out. So that's my cue to call it a night. My son is going to be leaving for it. My son is going to Disney World for a few, for the rest of the week, and I'm trying to stay calm because it's the first time he has flown out of New York, let alone flown out without me. So he's going to have a great week for his vacation time, and mommy is a little bit anxiety ridden. Also, why I needed the candle, but I put my faith in God and ask God to protect him on his trip. So I definitely got to finish helping, because he's got to pack up his clothes and leave mommy for the rest of the week. But thank you, Cicely. Yeah, he definitely deserves it. He deserves it. He's been going to summer school, guys. The kids missed out so much school from COVID, and he did really good this summer. He was just not complaining about it. So he definitely deserves the trip. So I'm going to help him, pack up his stuff and get his stuff together, and so he can make his trip. But guys, thank you so much, so much for being here with me. Anybody who's new to the channel, anybody who's new to the chat, I hope today's chat would, did something for you. And if it did, hit the subscribe button. You're more than welcome to stick around and stay. And you're welcome, Ty. I'm so glad you were here. Yeah, no, Davey, you're more than welcome to join. I mean, we do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all right? That's my time, New York. So you are more than welcome to be here to join and speak. You see the crowd, you see how people are. I mean, this is not everybody, but this is the majority, and they're just some really awesome people, man. Here to support. That's all we do, is support each other. So I do hope that you all have a great night. I'll keep you posted on the next video. In the meantime, please, if you haven't already, check out the borderline personality video that I uploaded earlier today. It gives you some good details on some information. And of course, if you have questions, you guys know where to find me. All right, you got my email. You can catch me on Instagram. Everything's going to be in the description box, so reach out to me if you have any questions. I'll be more than glad to help you with it. And again, like I said, I'll keep you guys posted on the video for either late this week or possibly early next week. But thank you again, everyone, for being here. I hope you have a great night, a great remainder of your week. I'm going to try my best not to drive myself crazy with my son not being here because I'm not used to it. But he deserves it. He deserves a really good time. So, guys, have a wonderful night. Okay, sleep with the angels, and may God protect all of you. And have a great and awesome week. I will be seeing you guys on the community board when I do my daily posts. Please be sure to also hit the like button on your way out. You guys know I always appreciate that. And for everybody who's made donations, thank you again so much. I really, truly appreciate it. You guys are really, the root cause of all of this. You guys are really why I do all of it, and I'm glad I do it. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it pushing forward, and let's help a victim and survivor one day at a time. That's all we can do, right, guys? So again, guys, thank you so much for being here. I love you all. Have a great night, great week, and I will see you all back here same time next week doing our thing. All right? Love you all, guys. Good night.